The morning sun pierced through the blinds of my bedroom window as my alarm blared at 5:30 a.m. I groaned, reaching over to silence the persistent noise. Another Monday in Seattle, another week of the same routine that had consumed my life for the past 7 years at Hartwell Financial Services. "Mommy?" Emily's small voice called from the doorway. My 8-year-old daughter stood there in her favorite unicorn pajamas, her dark hair tangled from sleep. "Are you still going to be at my birthday party on Friday?" I sat up, forcing a smile. "Of course, sweetie. I wouldn't miss it for the world." The truth was more complicated. Last week, I'd requested Friday afternoon off to prepare for Emily's birthday celebration. Richard Hartwell, my boss and the company's founder, had denied my request with a dismissive wave of his hand. "We have the Anderson account presentation on Friday, Lauren," he'd said, not even looking up from his computer. "Everyone needs to be present. No exceptions." I'd tried explaining that my daughter's birthday only came once a year, that I could prepare my part of the presentation in advance, that I could even come in early that day. But Richard's response had been firm. "We all have personal obligations, Lauren. If you want to keep climbing the ladder here, you need to show commitment. The team needs you on Friday." As I got Emily ready for school and myself ready for work, those words kept replaying in my mind. 7 years of showing commitment. 7 years of missed recitals, school events, and family dinners. 7 years of promising Emily next time while watching the disappointment in her eyes. "Remember, Mrs. Wilson is bringing you home today," I reminded Emily as I dropped her off at school. "I have a late meeting." "Again?" Emily's shoulders slumped slightly. "I'm sorry, honey, but I promise I'll be home to tuck you in." Another promise I hoped I could keep. The Hartwell Financial Services building loomed over downtown Seattle, a glass and steel monument to Richard Hartwell's success. As I rode the elevator to the 27th floor, I checked my emails on my phone. One caught my attention, from Vanessa Torres, a former colleague who had left Hartwell 6 months ago to join Beacon Capital Partners, our main competitor. "Coffee this week? I have an interesting proposition for you." I hesitated before responding. Vanessa and I had been close, and I missed our lunch breaks together, but meeting with someone from a competing firm felt like crossing a line. The elevator doors opened, and I was immediately greeted by the frantic energy of our office. My assistant, Kevin, was already at my door with a stack of files. "The Anderson presentation needs revisions," he said, following me into my office. "Richard wants to see the new numbers by noon." I set my bag down with a sigh. "Did he say what was wrong with the ones I submitted Friday?" Kevin shrugged. "Just that they weren't compelling enough. Oh, and the team meeting has been moved up to 10 a.m. The day spiraled from there. The revised numbers weren't good enough either. The team meeting turned into a 2-hour critique session where Richard questioned every decision I'd made on the Anderson account. By the time lunch rolled around, I hadn't even had a chance to think about Vanessa's email. But as I sat alone in the break room with my sad desk salad, I pulled out my phone and typed a quick reply. "Tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. at Elmwood Cafe?" Her response came almost immediately. "Perfect. See you then." That evening, I made it home just in time to tuck Emily in, as promised. She was already in bed, reading a book with my mother, who had moved in with us after my divorce 3 years ago. "How was your day, sweetie?" I asked, sitting on the edge of her bed. "We're making decorations for my birthday party at school," Emily said, her excitement palpable. "Mrs. Johnson said I could invite the whole class." My heart sank. I hadn't even sent out invitations yet. "That sounds wonderful," I said, trying to match her enthusiasm. After Emily fell asleep, my mother found me at the kitchen table, staring at my laptop while attempting to order birthday supplies online. "You look exhausted," she said, placing a cup of tea in front of me. "I am." I closed the laptop with a sigh. "Mom, I don't think I can make it to Emily's birthday party on Friday. Richard won't approve the time off." She sat down across from me, her expression concerned but not surprised. "Lauren, you've been killing yourself for that company for years. What has it gotten you?" "Financial stability," I replied defensively. "A good life for Emily." "At what cost?" she asked gently. Emily needs her mother present, not just financially providing. I knew she was right. The divorce had been hard on Emily, and my increasingly demanding job didn't help. I'd been telling myself that the sacrifices were temporary, that the next promotion would give me more flexibility. But that promotion never seemed to come. "I have coffee with Vanessa tomorrow," I said, almost to myself. "She left Hartwell for Beacon Capital 6 months ago." My mother raised an eyebrow. "The competitor? Is that wise?" "Probably not," I admitted. "But she said she has a proposition for me." That night, I lay awake long after I should have been asleep, thinking about Emily's birthday, the Anderson presentation, and what Vanessa could possibly want to discuss. For the first time in 7 years, I allowed myself to imagine what life might be like if I wasn't at Hartwell Financial Services. Elmwood Cafe was busy with the morning rush when I arrived the next day. Vanessa was already there, seated at a corner table with 2 steaming cups of coffee. She looked different, more relaxed, her usually severe bun replaced by loose waves, her corporate suit swapped for a stylish but comfortable blazer over jeans. "Lauren," she stood to hug me. "You look—" She paused, searching for a polite word. "Exhausted? Stressed? On the verge of a breakdown?" I supplied, settling into the chair across from her. She laughed. "I was going to say the same, but now that you mention it, you do look like you could use a vacation." "A vacation," I repeated, as if it were a foreign concept. "I can barely get a Friday afternoon off for my daughter's birthday." Vanessa's expression turned sympathetic. "That sounds like Richard. Some things never change." I took a sip of the coffee she'd ordered for me. A latte with an extra shot, just how I liked it. "So, what's this proposition you mentioned? Should I be worried about corporate espionage?" "Nothing so dramatic," she assured me with a smile. "I want to offer you a job." I nearly choked on my coffee. "What?" "Beacon is expanding its family investment division. We need someone with your expertise in portfolio management, and frankly, your reputation with clients is stellar." "I'm not looking to leave Hartwell," I said automatically, even as my mind began racing with possibilities. Vanessa gave me a knowing look. "Aren't you? Lauren, we've been friends for years. I know how Richard treats his employees. I know how many nights you've spent at the office instead of with Emily." "It's complicated," I hedged. "I have responsibilities, clients who depend on me. Clients who would follow you," she pointed out. "And as for responsibilities, what about your responsibilities to Emily? To yourself?" The mention of Emily hit a nerve. "Richard denied my request to take Friday afternoon off for her birthday," I admitted. "We have the Anderson presentation." Vanessa shook her head in disgust. "Classic Richard. You know what our CEO did when my son had his school play last month? He rescheduled a board meeting so I could attend." I stared at her, trying to imagine Richard doing something similar. It was impossible. "The work culture at Beacon is different," Vanessa continued. "We value results, not just FaceTime in the office. I leave by 5:30 most days. I haven't missed a school event in months." It sounded too good to be true. "What's the catch?" "No catch. The salary is comparable, slightly higher actually. The benefits are better, including childcare assistance and flexible work arrangements. The only difference is you won't have to sacrifice your personal life to succeed." She pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. "All the details are in here. Take some time to think about it. The position is yours if you want it." I took the folder, my mind still reeling. "I'll think about it. One more thing," Vanessa added as we were leaving. "The Anderson account. They're considering moving their business to Beacon. They're not happy with how Hartwell has been handling things." That was news to me. Richard had been telling us the relationship was stronger than ever. Back at the office, I tried to focus on work, but my thoughts kept drifting to Vanessa's offer. I discreetly opened the folder during a lull in my day, scanning the details of the position. Everything she'd said was true. The salary was better, the benefits more comprehensive, and there was an explicit commitment to work-life balance. "Lauren?" Richard's voice made me jump. I quickly closed the folder and looked up to find him standing in my doorway. "Yes, Richard?" I need the final numbers for the Anderson presentation by end of day. And I want you to take point on Friday. You know their portfolio better than anyone. Actually, Richard, about Friday. He cut me off with a raised hand. We've already discussed this. The answer is still no. But it's my daughter's birthday, I pressed, frustration mounting. I'm only asking for the afternoon off. I can do my part of the presentation in the morning. Richard's expression hardened. This is a crucial account, Lauren. If we lose Anderson, heads will roll, starting with those who aren't team players. The threat was thinly veiled. I thought about what Vanessa had said about Anderson considering Beacon. If Richard knew, he was even more callous than I'd thought. I understand, I said quietly. Richard nodded, satisfied. Good. I need those numbers by 5. After he left, I sat at my desk, a mixture of anger and resolve building inside me. I pulled out my phone and texted Vanessa. Can we meet again tomorrow? I have some questions. The next morning, over coffee at the same cafe, I peppered Vanessa with questions about Beacon, the culture, the expectations, the reality behind the promises. Her answers were consistent and reassuring. We want you because you're good at what you do, she said simply. We believe you'll be even better if you're not constantly burned out and missing your daughter's life. And if I were to start, we could have you onboarded by next week, she replied with a smile. In time for you to take Friday afternoon off for Emily's birthday. The decision crystallized in that moment. 7 years of loyalty to Hartwell had earned me nothing but missed moments with my daughter and the constant threat of termination if I didn't sacrifice more. It was time for a change. I need to give 2 weeks' notice, I said. Vanessa nodded. Of course. But she hesitated. Richard isn't known for taking resignations well. Be prepared for him to ask you to leave immediately. I hadn't considered that. If Richard forced me out today, I'd still miss Emily's birthday party on Friday. Let me talk to our HR, Vanessa offered, seeing my concern. Maybe we can work something out. By that afternoon, she had a solution. I could formally accept Beacon's offer and submit my resignation to Hartwell. If Richard asked me to leave immediately, I could start at Beacon the next day, giving me Friday afternoon free for Emily's party either way. The plan set, I drafted my resignation letter, a strange mix of anxiety and liberation coursing through me. 7 years of my professional life summed up in 3 polite paragraphs. That evening, I sat Emily down to talk. Sweetie, I have some news. I'm changing jobs. Her small face scrunched in confusion. Does that mean you'll have to work more? No, I said, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. It means I'll be home more, and I'll definitely be at your birthday party on Friday. Her eyes widened. Really? You promise? I promise, I said, meaning it completely for the first time in too long. Thursday morning arrived with a sense of nervous anticipation. I'd dressed with extra care, a tailored navy suit that projected confidence and professionalism. The resignation letter sat in my bag, a tangible symbol of the change I was about to make. The office hummed with the usual activity as I made my way to Richard's corner office. His assistant, Meredith, gave me a curious look as I requested a few minutes of his time. He's on a call, but I'll let him know you're waiting, she said. I nodded, taking a seat in one of the visitor chairs. My phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa. All set on our end. Good luck. Richard's door opened 15 minutes later. Lauren, come in, he said, his tone brisk. Make it quick. I have another call in 10. I entered his office, taking in the familiar space, the awards lining the walls, the view of downtown Seattle, the intimidating desk where he'd shot down countless ideas and requests over the years. What can I do for you? He asked, barely looking up from his computer. I took a deep breath and placed the envelope on his desk. I'm resigning from my position, effective 2 weeks from today. That got his attention. His head snapped up, eyes narrowing. Excuse me? I've accepted a position at another firm, I said, keeping my voice steady. I believe it's a better fit for me at this point in my career. Richard stared at the envelope as if it might bite him. Which firm? I hesitated, but there was no point in hiding it. Beacon Capital Partners. His face flushed with anger. Beacon? Our direct competitor? This is how you repay 7 years of mentorship and opportunity? I bit back a bitter laugh. Mentorship? Richard had never mentored me. He'd exploited my work ethic and used my fear of failure to extract more and more of my time and energy. I'm grateful for the experience I've gained at Hartwell, I said diplomatically, but I need to make choices that allow me to be present for my daughter. This is about Friday, isn't it? He scoffed. You're throwing away your career over a child's birthday party? The dismissive way he referred to Emily's birthday, as if it were trivial, as if she were trivial, solidified my decision. No, Richard. This is about years of missed moments and broken promises. This is about working for a company that values me as a whole person, not just what I can produce between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. Richard's expression darkened. Beacon approached you, didn't they? What did they offer? I can match it. It's not about the money, I said, though I wasn't surprised that was his first assumption. Then what? More vacation? A better title? Name it. I shook my head. It's about culture, about respect for boundaries, about not having to choose between being a good employee and being a good mother. Richard leaned back in his chair, his anger shifting to something colder, more calculated. I see. Well, given your new allegiance to our competitor, I think it's best if today is your last day. I'd expected this, but it still stung. I'm happy to help with the transition. That won't be necessary. He cut me off. Security will escort you to clear out your desk. Your access to our systems will be revoked immediately. The word security felt like a slap. 7 years of dedication, and he was treating me like a criminal. I understand, I said, standing up. I'll be out within the hour. As I turned to leave, Richard added, and Lauren? Don't expect a reference. And I'll be personally calling the Anderson team to let them know about your disloyalty. I paused at the door. Actually, Richard, I believe the Anderson team will be making their own decisions about who they trust with their business. But that's no longer my concern. The next hour was a blur of emptying drawers, packing photos, and saying awkward goodbyes to surprised colleagues. Kevin helped me carry my boxes to the elevator, confusion evident on his face. Is this really about Emily's birthday? He whispered as we waited. It's about all the birthdays, I replied, and recitals, and school plays, and bedtime stories. It's about choosing what actually matters. By noon, I was sitting in my car in the parking garage, 7 years of my professional life condensed into 2 cardboard boxes. I should have felt devastated. Instead, I felt lighter than I had in years. I pulled out my phone and called Vanessa. It's done, I told her. Richard asked me to leave immediately. As expected, she said, unsurprised. How do you feel? I considered the question. Relieved? Excited? A little terrified? She laughed. All appropriate reactions. Can you come in tomorrow to start paperwork, or do you need a day? Actually, I said, starting my car, I think I'll take tomorrow off. I have a birthday party to prepare for. That evening, I broke the news to Emily and my mother over a celebratory dinner of Emily's favorite, spaghetti and meatballs. So you won't be working at the big glass building anymore? Emily asked, twirling pasta on her fork. Nope, I'll be working at a different building, and I'll be home for dinner most nights. My mother squeezed my hand across the table, her eyes suspiciously bright. I'm proud of you, Lauren. Later, after Emily was in bed, my mother brought out a bottle of wine. To new beginnings, she toasted. And to being there for the moments that matter, I added. As we sipped our wine, my phone buzzed with a text from a number I didn't recognize. Lauren, it's James Anderson. Heard you're making a change. Let's talk Monday. I've been considering a change myself. I showed the text to my mother, who raised her eyebrows, impressed. Looks like Richard's plan to damage your reputation backfired. I smiled, setting the phone aside. Monday's problems could wait until Monday. Right now, I had a birthday party to plan. Friday dawned bright and clear, a rarity for Seattle in early spring. I woke up without an alarm for the first time in years. The knowledge that I didn't have to rush to the office bringing an unfamiliar sense of peace. Emily was already up, practically bouncing with excitement when I found her in the kitchen. "Today's my birthday party," she announced, as if I might have forgotten. "And you're really going to be there?" "I wouldn't miss it for the world," I promised, lifting her into a hug. "In fact, I'm all yours today. What should we do this morning?" Her eyes widened with the possibilities. "Can we get decorations and bake my cake together?" "Absolutely," I agreed, already mentally organizing the day. Decorations, cake, and anything else the birthday girl wants. The morning flew by in a whirlwind of shopping for streamers, balloons, and party favors. Emily picked out unicorn-themed everything, her enthusiasm infectious. At the bakery supply store, we selected cake mix, frosting, and an assortment of sprinkles and cake toppers. "Mrs. Wilson always helps me bake at her house," Emily commented as we loaded our purchases into the car. "But I like baking with you better." The casual comment hit me like a physical blow. Mrs. Wilson, our elderly neighbor, had become Emily's after-school caretaker over the past few years, filling in the gaps left by my long work hours. She'd been the one to help with homework, to listen to Emily's stories about school, to bake cookies and cakes on special occasions. All the things I should have been doing. "I like baking with you too, sweetie," I managed, swallowing the lump in my throat. "And we're going to do a lot more of it from now on." Back home, the kitchen quickly became a disaster zone of flour, sugar, and multicolored sprinkles. My mother joined us, taking photos as Emily and I worked on her birthday cake, a 2-layer confection with rainbow sprinkles and a unicorn topper. "This is the best birthday ever," Emily declared, licking frosting from a spoon. "The party hasn't even started yet," I laughed. "I know," she said with the simple wisdom of an 8-year-old. "But you're here." By 3 o'clock, the house was transformed with streamers, balloons, and a Happy Birthday Emily banner. The cake sat proudly on the dining table, surrounded by plates, napkins, and party hats. My mother had picked up the pizza order, and everything was ready for the 15 kindergartners due to arrive at 4. As I stood back surveying our work, my phone buzzed with a text. It was Kevin from the office. "Presentation bombed. Richard blamed you. Anderson walked out. Chaos here." A day ago, this news would have sent me into a panic. Now, I felt a strange detachment, especially knowing that James Anderson had already reached out to me directly. Another text followed. "Hope you're enjoying the birthday party. Some of us are thinking of jumping ship too. Drinks next week?" I replied with a simple yes, and put my phone away. The old Hartwell drama no longer felt like my problem. The party was everything Emily had hoped for: noisy, chaotic, and filled with laughter. I found myself fully present in a way I hadn't been at previous events, not checking emails or taking work calls in the middle of games. I knew all of Emily's friends' names, thanks to our morning of preparation, and I joined in the games and activities with genuine enthusiasm. Mrs. Wilson stopped by briefly to drop off a gift. "It's good to see you here," she said warmly. "Emily's been talking about it all week." "I should have been here all along," I admitted. "Thank you for being there when I wasn't." She patted my hand. "Better late than never, dear." As the party wound down and parents arrived to collect sugar-crashed children, Emily sat amid a pile of gifts, her face glowing with happiness. My mother captured photos, and I found myself blinking back tears at the realization of how many of these moments I'd missed. After the last guest left, Emily curled up next to me on the couch, tired but content. "Did you have a good birthday, sweetie?" I asked, stroking her hair. "The best," she murmured sleepily. "And you know what the best part was?" "What?" "You didn't look at your phone once." The simple observation made my heart ache. Had I really been so transparent in my divided attention before? "I'm sorry I've been so distracted," I said softly. "That's going to change." "Because of your new job?" she asked. "Partly," I acknowledged, "but mostly because I realized what's really important." That night, after Emily was asleep, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop, organizing my thoughts for my first day at Beacon on Monday. My mother joined me, offering a cup of tea. "So?" she said, settling across from me. "No regrets?" I thought about the chaos at Hartwell, about Richard's anger, about the burned bridges. Then I thought about Emily's face as we baked her cake, about the weight that had lifted from my shoulders, about the possibilities that lay ahead. Not a single one, I replied honestly. I should have done this years ago. Better late than never, my mother echoed Mrs. Wilson's words. You know, when your father was alive, he used to say something that always stuck with me. No one on their deathbed ever wished they'd spent more time at the office. I nodded, letting the wisdom of that sink in. I think I finally understand that. On Monday morning, I walked into the Beacon Capital Partners building with a sense of purpose and possibility. Vanessa greeted me in the lobby, introducing me to colleagues who welcomed me warmly. My new office had a photo frame on the desk, a thoughtful touch from Vanessa, and I filled it with a picture from Emily's birthday party. At exactly 5:30 that evening, Vanessa stopped by my office. Time to go home, Lauren. We mean it when we say we value work-life balance. I looked at the clock, surprised. At Hartwell, I would have been expected to stay at least another 3 hours. Thank you, I said, gathering my things. For everything. Don't thank me, she replied with a smile. Just pay it forward someday. That evening, I made it home in time to help Emily with her homework, to hear about her day at school, and to sit down to a family dinner. As she chattered about her teacher and friends, I realized I was hearing stories I would have missed before, building connections that would have been sacrificed on the altar of corporate advancement. Later, as I tucked her into bed, Emily asked, "Will you be home for dinner tomorrow too?" "Yes," I promised. "And the day after that? And the day after that?" "Good," she said, snuggling under her covers. "That's even better than birthdays." As I switched off her light, I realized that in trying to provide Emily with financial security, I'd been depriving her of something far more valuable: my presence, my attention, my time. The very things that Richard Hartwell had demanded from me for years were the same things my daughter needed most. By choosing to walk away from a toxic work environment, I hadn't just changed jobs. I'd reclaimed my life and my relationship with my daughter. And that was worth more than any corner office or impressive title could ever be. Sometimes the most professional decision is also the most personal one. And sometimes the best way to show your worth isn't by sacrificing everything for a company that sees you as replaceable, but by recognizing when it's time to take your talents elsewhere. Somewhere they're truly valued, along with the whole person behind them.